It's easy to read this passage, hear the analogy of the wheat and the weeds, assign them to people or experiences in our lives, say God will deliver the final judgment, and move on with our lives. Black and white thinking causes us to fall into these traps of us and them, good and bad. It feels easy, it feels safe to our human bodies and brains. Listen to the rhetoric of our politicians, read any of the posts on social media, pay attention to our opinions and judgments of ourselves and others. It's usually either wheat or weeds, and we're pretty darn sure which one it is. The wheat is good. It's people who align with us or experiences that have an immediate positive impact on our lives. In that time and now, the wheat was currency. A good crop year meant food on the table. A bad crop year was dangerous. The weeds are bad. Weeds are the people who cause us pain, the experiences that throw us off our supposed paths. They grow alongside the wheat, stripping the soil of its nutrients, intertwining itself with the crop. So the reapers in this story, they were trying to protect their currency. The weeds were attempting to choke out the wheat, threatening what they needed to survive. The reapers wanted to go out to the fields and save their wheat from the weeds. I think this is what we want to do with our lives sometimes. We view something as bad or dangerous, and we want to immediately remove it. And sometimes that is what we need to do. God gave us a gut for a reason, and we need to trust it. But what if sometimes we pull them too quickly? What if sometimes we pull wheat where we meant to pull a weed? You see, the weeds that they're referring to in this story are weeds that, until they are fully mature, they look like wheat. It's called false wheat, and it was common for many fields in that time. The householders saw that if the reapers were to go out into the field and try and pull the weeds, they would pull the wheat alongside it. Because due to the immaturity of the plants and the immaturity of the reapers' eyes, they couldn't tell them apart. It's true for people and experiences in our lives as well. We sometimes don't see the lesson or impact an experience has had on us until much later down the road with maturity of life experience and wisdom. In the spring of 2024, I embarked on one of these experiences. I boarded a plane bound for Malta to study there for a semester. I approached this trip thinking that it would fix everything that had been happening in my life, which is a story for another time. But as the weeks went by while I was there, I kept realizing that this was not the place for me. But I kept fighting it, kept trying to make it the place for me. It wasn't until I found myself in an Airbnb at 3 a.m. in Vienna, Austria, that I finally called my parents and told them I needed to come home. The entire trip back to Minnesota, I kept thinking, I failed. But that spring, after I came home, ended up being exactly where I was supposed to be. And I wouldn't have ended up there if I hadn't decided to go on the trip in the first place. I met people who are now some of my closest friends. I had experiences that have opened so many doors for me, and I was able to return to Luther in the fall, a happier and healthier version of myself, having taken that break. But I didn't see that in the moment. During that time, I saw the experience as a weed. And for a while, I was worried I'd pulled out of the experience too early, that I hadn't given it its proper time. But with maturity, our seeing changes. We have the benefit of more experience, a deeper understanding, and greater wisdom. And the world could sure use more of that. So what would it be like, and what would it be like to live more in the maybe of life than in the separation of wheat and weeds? What if maybe is what holds the door open for the future? I see now that this experience lives in the middle between the wheat and the weeds. This experience caused pain, heartbreak, a lot of frustration with the Luther College Registrar's office, but it also caused joy, love, and deeper relationships with those around me. Living in the in-between, the maybe, keeps us from claiming to know more than we really do or can know. It's slow to make a final judgment or conclusion. It asks us to be willing to be surprised and live with curiosity. It offers another and ourselves the benefit of the doubt. It allows time for growth, change, and new possibilities. Maybe keeps our heart soft and our eyes open. Isn't that what God is calling us to in the last passage of our gospel? God is calling us to live in the maybe, leaving the final judgment of good and evil up to him. Our job is to align ourselves as closely as him to possible, to love those around us without putting them in a category, to live into the maybes within ourselves, acknowledging our shortcomings and shining like the sun to those around us. I want to end with some wise words that the Rev. Mary Groninger, vicar of St. Mary's Episcopal Church, offered last night in her Saturday sermon. She's the vicar of St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Ely, Minnesota, which has been ravaged by wildfires. She says, "We cannot stop the weeds, the predators, or the wildfires from coming, but they won't overwhelm us, and they won't keep out the love, the joy, and the healing that is God's kingdom, as long as we have eyes to see it and hands to do each small thing that shows the world to whom our hearts belong." Amen.